So welcome to the Trails Committee meeting on 11/30/2021. I call the meeting to order at 6:32. We'll do a roll call vote, and when I call your name, let me know that you're here. Tom McCoulier.
Here.
Isabella Bogdansky.
Here.
Isabel Murphy.
Here.
And Kat McKee is also here. I'll acknowledge that Tony Schoner and Will Warren are also here. They will be applying to be associate members. We're very excited about that. I think Tony's already submitted his form, and Will, I think you're in queue to submit your citizens activity form to become an official associate member. You're on mute if you had something positive.
Yes, I will.
Great. And then next step on that will be that I'll submit a letter of support to the select board, and they will put it on a future agenda depending on their schedule, and hopefully we'll get that done in the next couple weeks or couple meetings. Great. Okay, so the first order of business is approved minutes from the last meeting, 11:09 and 11:23. I did submit or share with you the 11:09 meeting minutes just before our meeting. So if you want, I'll pull those up and we can take a look at those together. I did not have enough time for 11:23 to review Sati's notes. There was a small glitch in the uploading of the recording, and so Sati did not have access to those that recording before, so it delayed the processing, and it took a little bit more time just to cross-reference. And the 11:09 meeting, if you remember, was a very detailed meeting about our charge, so I wanted to make sure we represented that properly. So let me pull up the meeting here. Oh, there we go. Now I'm going to share screens. Okay. And you guys should be able to read my screen now.
Mhm.
Or screen to read the minutes. Okay. So I'm going to let me know when you're ready to scroll down.
Just a quick typo. You spelled my name wrong. It's Isabella, not Isabel.
Oh, thank you. And the roll call? Under
Yeah.
number one. Thank you. I'll make that note.
And
Good.
also, in the attendees, you spelled my last name wrong as well. It's
Okay.
an I at the end.
Thank you.
And while we're doing it, in the attendees, my name is spelled wrong.
I see. So he mixed those up, Isabella. And thank you.
I just want to make it for the record. My name is spelled perfectly.
That's good.
And then again, under bullet number 3, the approved minutes, it's Isabel. Again.
Thank you. Good eye. That was a copy paste problem. Under number 4, kickoff for Choate Fund grant with Heritage Stewardship Committee. I think I should clarify what that means is and it should be a sub bullet to bullet number 2. The kickoff was the educational materials for the dog waste. It's a little unclear, so I'm going to make that a sub bullet and make it a little more clear by just stating exactly that the dog waste materials was a kickoff for the Choate Fund grant.
Yeah, I'll move to approve the minutes. I don't know if anybody else also, I don't know if we have to go through all of it, but.
Oh yeah, so let's let me just scroll down a little bit. What I'd like to make sure that I have this the charge discussion bullet number 5. If we could take a look at that entire section, make sure it accurately represents the topic that we discussed and how I'm representing the information is clear to everybody. Oh, there's a sub bullet. We consulted town general counsel, not consulting. Hope there's something in Q&A. Opposing warrant article is not likely. You mean there may be opposition? Thank you. Okay. Any questions on 5?
Nope.
Okay, I'm going to move on then. Rest of it was pretty straightforward. Bullet 8 is missing. Will meet this month on the grant. The stewardship committee will meet.
Good pickup.
When's that meeting?
This was the 11/9 minutes, so we met sometime in November. I can't, it's a blur.
Okay,
One of those dates we met after this.
I just didn't know if you want to put the date in, that's all. That's all.
I'm not sure it was. I could see if I knew it on the 9th.
And then just another small thing, he spelled my name wrong again in the last.
I apologize. That was a copy paste error, not.
That's okay, no worries.
But I'm glad you caught that. Thank you.
And I do want to put in the record, my name is still correctly spelled.
Perfect.
Don't have to choke over that one.
Okay, so, and then we adjourned and had 2 meetings set. So at this point, just I think, Tom, you were making a motion to amend as amended.
Amend the minutes as edited.
Oh,
I
I,
second the motion.
go ahead. Yep.
Who do I record as being the one who second?
Isabel.
So is that Ella or L?
Bella. Bella or Bella?
Okay, great.
Bella, yeah.
Thank you. So we'll do a vote, roll call. When I call your name, just affirm or deny. Tom McCoolier.
Yes.
Great. Isabel Murphy.
Yes.
Isabella Bogdansky
Yes.
and Kat McKee. Yes. Great. Thank you for that. Okay, we'll stop sharing. And our next order of business is Trailblazers. So tomorrow we've been invited to attend Trailblazers meeting December 1st, which is tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Without knowing much more, it's, I think, more about how to collaborate together, perhaps. So I just wanted to bring that up to you guys, to the committee, to see if, as we go into this meeting, are there any thoughts, and things might come up as you as we talk, that some ideas that we can share with them, any ideas of how we might be able to collaborate with the Trailblazers. And just to clarify, the Trailblazers is an organization, a group of seniors. I believe it's okay to say seniors because I think it is a senior oriented group and they trailblaze. They just go all over the community and they just do different hikes, and they've been hiking the Bay Circuit Trail. I don't know if they've hiked all 233 miles, but I know they've been doing section hikes. And so it's a fun activity for folks to get involved with in that way.
So I know what the Trailblazers are. What is the meeting prep? I mean, they are a walking group. What's the goal of the meeting?
I'm not quite sure what they want to talk about. I think, once upon a time, years ago, Satyendra might remember this, and I think Isabel, you may recall, what is her name? Anderson came to our meeting, our Trails meeting, just to say hi, Marianne Anderson. Let me just see. The Trails Board would like to have you join our next meeting. Looking forward to discussing our common interests. So that was from Bill Harrington, and Marianne Anderson had attended one of our Trails meetings many years ago, and just kind of exploring what we do, and there seems to be some synergies. So the agenda is unknown. If anything comes up during the meeting and you think of something, just feel free to share, and I'll report back at our next meeting. Okay,
Sounds good.
great.
Well, the only thing, I'm reading the comments, Tim mentioned, you might socialize about the article that's coming up at town meeting. The
I was
warrant.
thinking about that too. Thank you for bringing that up, Tim. And because I don't know what kind of group Trailblazers are. I don't know that it's not an official committee necessarily. But all support is good support. So I'm with you. Thank you.
So I consider the Trailblazers part of the senior center. It's a subgroup of senior, older Southborough residents, not
Yep.
seniors, older Southborough residents that are very active in hiking trails across the Commonwealth, not just Southborough. So
Yeah.
I think they should know about our request. I don't think that doesn't hurt for them to know about it. And also ask them, what do you want from us?
Yeah. How can we support your organization?
Not support. We don't want to support. What would you like to see? I mean, let them give us some ideas. You guys travel across the Commonwealth. What do you like? What do you dislike? Do we have enough trail markers? Do we have too little, too many? Is other trails maintained differently? I think we can get some feedback from their experience of hiking across the Commonwealth.
What about you?
Like it.
Is anyone in your
Thank
place doing any research on epigenetics?
Oh, I think someone's talking in the background. I'm not sure who. But that, I mean, I think it's 2 points. Let's get something from them. And 2, tell them what we're doing. We should be an open book. This is the article. This is why we're doing it. And also ask them, like I mentioned earlier, I'm just saying the same thing over again, is what do you guys see that you like and what you don't like?
Yep. And then I'd like to say, how can we support you, and how can you support us, and how can we work together?
If you like.
Okay, thank you. Permission granted. Is there another comment? They are sponsored by the
Council of Aging.
thank you. Might let them know. Okay, great. Awesome. So thank you so much for that feedback. Next on the agenda, the Trails Committee bylaw status update, really quick. We finished that last week, and we submitted it to I submitted it to the select board to go on the agenda at the next agenda. I let them decide what agenda, and I asked Mark, I said, I understand there's some deadlines, so if you could share those important deadlines with us, that would be great. And I think I might have asked for some reference materials, just resource documents, like how the process works and what we should be prepared for. So that is done. I don't have anything else on that. We're just going to wait to hear back from Mark as to what meeting we can attend. And so just to be clear, I think, Tim, you might be best suited to answer this question. I'm happy to promote you if it's better for you to speak. Our ask is of the select board to support the article, to put the article forward. I think that's the ask. Is that right, Tim?
Support. We want their support for the article.
Well, I thought Tim, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let him talk. I thought it was that we wanted them to put it forward, and we do want their support. So here he comes. But that's where I was a little unclear. Hi, Tim.
You're muted, Tim.
I know, just let me click the buttons.
No, we're very impatient.
Okay, fine. It's a little difficult because I'm working off a laptop. My real computer fell apart. So I'm
Oh,
in,
no.
I'm in the technological doghouse. So Catherine has it right. The ask, there really are two asks. The first and most important ask is that the article be placed on the warrant for the annual town meeting.
Yep.
Once it's there, the next ask is please support it.
Oh, so just support it, not put it forward, right?
No, there are two asks. Ask one, unconditional. We want this on the warrant, please.
Okay.
Ask two is, given that it's going to be on the warrant, we would of course like your support.
Get it. Okay. And that ask two might happen during the conversation if
Sure.
we're invited to attend.
And then the other thing that you had talked about at the last meeting, and I think is a good idea, would be to have a conversation with our all-you-can-eat town council, at one of his office hours or something. In the
Yeah,
past, I've worked with the past town council on, any reviews and stuff, and I'd be happy to do it again. If just sort of let me know when.
sounds good. Yeah, I will. I wanted to separate my asks of Mr. Purple. So I first submitted the request to be added, and then I was going to submit the legal, I forget what it's called. It's just a legal request form that we have to submit. So I
If
can.
you're just dropping in on office hours, you don't even have to do that, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, I have to see when office hours are. Sometimes, yeah, I guess in person would.
Well, I'm just
I
thinking that
think-
if we do it informally, it's likely to be faster. And then he can indicate if he thinks he needs more time and formal review. Because I mean, the selectmen will eventually force a formal review.
Sure.
So you're
sure.
just trying to get ahead of the game.
Right, and kind of present it. But I was thinking to streamline our time, if we were to just show up, it might be beneficial to submit to him in advance for his review. So the meeting we have would be
Yep, you can do that too.
more steeped in the details.
Now, would we get approval at that office hours, or is it has to be the approval requested to the selectmen?
It's through the select board, but they are going to look like, as Tim said, they're going to look to Jay Tallerman to identify any red flags or correct any issues
Yeah,
before it
so-
goes to the warrant. But this is kind of like a proactive step to maybe streamline the board's time too.
Oh, I agree. If we can get office hours prior to the Board of Selectmen, I think that's better.
Well, if office hours are tomorrow, which I think they may fall on Wednesdays, it won't happen because I think the select board's meeting is next Tuesday. If we make that agenda, I'm not promising that we will, but I can't make it tomorrow. So,
Yep, I can't do it alone because I'm not part of a committee.
yeah. So even, I mean, I don't even know if it requires an in-person meeting, if we were to send it to him, he perhaps could provide some comments. That might be one way to address it before next select board meeting.
I mean, I could be, depending on timing, I could make myself available. Well, I can't make myself, but if I am available.
Yeah, I think so I think traditionally the hours are, who is it, 10 to 12? If it's then I think on a Wednesday, I'm not sure.
And that's, you can drop by on that 10 to 12.
That's right. I don't know if if a heads up is required. I mean, kind of defeats the purpose of office open hours. Oh, there's a hand raised because someone's going to answer that question. Sam Stivers, promoting you, Sam. Unless he asked. Oh, you're
You're supposed to complete the
legal
legal request for
hours.
office hours questions as well.
Okay, does that,
Oh,
do you want to be promoted to chat to Sam, or does that?
Nah, I mean, he answered it. Town council office hours are the third Wednesday. Tomorrow will be the first Wednesday.
Okay, good. So we're saying, and this is a holiday month.
And you gotta request it, though. You
That's
just
the
can't
15th.
show
Okay,
up
good.
to office hours.
Good, that's what I thought. Okay, so I'll submit the form and see what we
Got
can do. Okay, because at least if we do get to the select board's meeting in advance, we can say we've already submitted it for review and, they can feel comfortable or not about that. Okay, anything else on that? Thank you, moving right along. Okay, so committee, last meeting, we talked about an open meeting law policy related to associate members that this committee can put together. And so I circulated the draft, which was similar, Sam, town councils, okay, which was similar to what we had circulated before. Let me share my screen. So. Okay, let me know when you can see my screen.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Okay, so the purpose of this was we had initially thought that the town should have a policy on associate members, or we were recommending that the town does, similar to the town of Weston, to help address the concerns with open meeting law or conflict of interest law, possible violations, and to provide some guardrails around how to handle this new member. So we switched this around a little bit. Now it's the trails. That was a great suggestion. It's now a trails committee policy. So if we can take a look at this, and if we feel like we can get in good enough shape tonight, we can vote on it. If we feel like we want to take some time with it, there's no rush, and we can vote on it at next meeting. So I'll leave it to the committee to review and decide on how they want to move forward.
I think the meat of it and the objection by the individual would probably be that fourth paragraph. Are they going to be satisfied by the language in the fourth paragraph about non-voting associate members will be dictated by state law? They don't count towards quorum. They may not second or vote upon members. They may participate in discussion. And then the work of the committee at the discretion of the chair.
Yeah, that's language we took from, except for the first sentence.
No,
That's like-
I like all that. I like the whole document. I think that's pretty clear cut.
Yeah, we took that directly from our charge because we had that footnote, if you remember, as a way to address it in the charge, which kind of felt weird, but was accepted by the select board. So I took the same language so that we're using the same text and not creating conflicts for ourselves.
No, I like the document. I like the policy. I think we should also, if we have the ability to also have town council review it at that office hours. See if they have any issues with it, not issues, but any suggestions around it.
Good suggestion.
I think one of the things that's missing from this that we talked about last time is a statement that says that it is the voting members' responsibility to make sure that, associate members don't create serial deliberations or something to that effect.
Is that highlighted text that I
Yep.
took that? Yeah, does that work, Tim? That's what we put in our charge. Do you see the highlight?
Okay.
Now, the only suggestion, I don't know if you make a footnote, is to make sure you explain what a serial deliberation is.
Can I refer them to the open meeting law with perhaps with a footnote and a link to the open meeting law, so I don't have to recreate that wheel, and I'll let the
Yep, that's fine. I prefer that way there.
Okay, so I'm going to put something very similar to this. It's not going to deviate much, and I'll have the link spelled out, not as a clickable. I mean, it'll be clickable for a PDF, but you'll spell it out. So if you had to copy and paste, you could in a browser.
A hyperlink.
Do you remember that word? URL. What? Okay, anything else we have? Just trying to keep it short. And again, the idea is to help address some of the concerns that were brought up, and having this in place, I think, shows that we are taking it a step further to.
Yeah, I might organize it a little bit differently. I think you have all the the pieces in place,
Sure.
but you've intermixed, background material, things that are done by the select board and your policy, things that
Oh,
are
you
done
wanna-
by you. So
Okay, you want to
If it-
specify?
I'm not sure I want to try to do that in real time.
Okay,
But I mean, those are the things, I would look at, and, if you want me to take a pass over it before the next meeting, I can do that too.
that would be great.
Would you
So
suggest?
send me a
actually-
copy, because you didn't send me this beforehand.
No, I did not. Thank you, Tim.
Would you
Um,
think about
um,
removing the third paragraph? Because that's really the selectman is the one who appoints it. And why is that in the policy?
Oh,
Well, this is what I was getting at in my comment, Tom. It might be part of a preamble or a prologue and introduction that says, so why are we talking about this? But it's not something that your committee does.
actually, it's a good point. Because this is just a little redundant to what's in our charge. This is all stated already. So we could literally get rid of it, and I'm totally fine with it.
Well, again, it's worth some thought, because if you're going to hand this to an associate member and say, welcome to the committee, you should know about this, then maybe it's worth restating it. But
Well,
it
maybe
shouldn't be in the middle of the policy.
I agree, and maybe it doesn't go in the policy at all, and their package for new associate members and members is part of it. They get a copy of the charge and they get a copy of the policy as a welcome pack. So they get the full package, and then they really know everything that we know. 'Cause I think that was one of the concerns that someone said, well, what if all the committee members go away, retire, and a whole new suite of people come on board? How does this get passed on? Right? How does this institutional knowledge continue?
Mhm.
So this is one of the ways we can do that. And to ensure that our folks have all the information, I think all new members, we haven't done that traditionally. But we can moving forward to help address that. I like that idea.
Well, the other half of that is overlapping terms.
Right, that's defined in the bylaw.
Yes.
Right, well, and then they should get a copy of the bylaw too. Nice little package.
Yeah. So the overlapping terms is not applicable to the associate members. They are always going to be fiscal year oriented.
That's correct. But in terms of the institutional knowledge,
That's
that's the
what the-
voting members, and it's
Right.
their responsibility to make the policy happen. So
Agreed. I was just stating the obvious, but yeah. Kit, I'm good with removing what you have striked, because I think that's really not part of the policy. That's just telling
Yeah.
procedural matters.
Yep, agreed. So Tim, after having done that, do you still want to take a stab at it?
it's up to you.
No, we always appreciate feedback, and I want to make this the best it can be and, achieve our objectives. So if having an experienced eye take a look, then let's do that.
I'll find the time.
If you don't, that's fine too. We can, move forward, and we can always vote to amend, because this is, like we said, is the Trails Committee. It's our policy, so we can improve it as needed. Okay, any other comments on this? So we'll punt the vote until next meeting, and then have another version and perhaps vote to approve it.
Agreed.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. Okay, so next, committee budget discussion and clarification. So I did not get clarification because I did a few other things and I did not do that. So I think I had left the record stating, don't listen to what I said last time, that I needed to get clarification on that. So we're gonna have to punt that, but I do, a couple of things came up this week for budget. So it just goes to support the need to have one. So whether that's under rec, or whether that's under DPW, or whether that's our own budget via the bylaw, even though if it is, I think we still have to be under department. So it's just to be determined, and we'll figure that out as the discussions continue. And I don't have an update from Tim, so I will aim to next meeting report back to the committee on any movement with that. Any questions?
No.
Okay, great. So the next item on our list is the Eagle Scout project, Nick McAvoy, the Aqueduct Trail Connector Trail. So we've had some great progress there. We had a work party. It was scheduled originally for Friday. It was punted to Saturday because the surveyor needed to have a non-rainy day to finish his work. So he did finish the survey, and he's going to give us, and he has given us, I'm going to stop sharing and share something else just so you can see what it is. And I think if I do this and then I pull this up, you'll see it. Okay. Let me know when you see a map. Okay, great. So this is Glenn Odone. Odone is he had a kid in the Scouts, and so now he has done this for several Scouts where he's offered his surveying services. So he mapped out the boundaries based on the boundary markers on the land, on the parcel of land, to ensure that where we've proposed the trail is within the boundaries. And so as you can see, we've proposed the trail to be middle of the this small section is only 50 feet wide. So we chose the middle of it just to ensure we're not going to encroach upon neighbors' space. And we have a preliminary path carved out, but there is, you'll see my mouse here, this section of trail that comes off of Bay Circuit Trail Connector is across, it extends over the power line area, and it is full of chest high briars and brush, and it's really thick. So we took some machetes and carved out a tentative path, but in order to clear this with hand tools, it would take us forever. So a brush cutter would really be useful in this scenario, in this section, as well as this section down here. This middle section is mostly woods. So what I've reached out to DPW and asked them if they have a brush cutter and if they might have staff to help us do this. It's a small trail. It wouldn't take very long. So Karen Galligan is going to get back to us on that. Plan B is to reach out to the community to see if anyone has a brush cutter and is trained to use it safely. Would they be willing to help us on Sunday or another day? The backup plan to that, Plan B part 2, is if someone doesn't have it, can we rent it? You can rent one of these from Home Depot. And is someone in town trained to use it? Because we're not going to put untrained people behind some blades. It's just not safe. So that's our plan to kind of attack this piece. And I'm hoping that one of those items might work. And referencing the budget, this is where I reached out to Tim to ask him if recreation could. It's only about $50 to rent that tool for a day, and it's a handheld one, not a mower. There's different kinds of brush cutters as I'm learning. So anyway, so that's the short of it. So we had a good group on Saturday, and as the surveying was taking place, the rest of us were clearing some brush with the machetes, and some of the Scout fathers who have safety training and chainsaws were able to remove a couple of the down limbs and things, the bigger work. So the good news is it's in good shape for all of us now, just to join in and get down to literally taking off the organic matter to make a path. So the next work day is planned for this Sunday. If anyone's available, let me know if you can join us. We've been starting around 9 a.m. So that start time will just be, it depends on the group. And Nick is organizing the troops and anybody who can attend. We have a few tools. I have a Pulaski and a McLeod and a couple of hose, which are really useful when we're trying to remove the brush. I don't know if anyone on the committee has any of those tools, or at this point, I think a hard rake will be needed and maybe a shovel later on, but initially we just need to kind of get up some of the brush and remove that. So I'll put it out there. Is anyone available to join us on Sunday, 9 or 10-ish?
I have to get back to you on that date. I'm not sure as now.
Yeah,
Okay.
Kat, this is Isabel. Put me down as a maybe, depending on how I'm feeling.
Yeah, no, thank you.
So what's the objective, again, just in a quick sentence? The objective of the 9th is to help Nick blaze the trail? I mean,
Yeah, we're helping to clear the trail.
Yeah,
Kat, put me down as someone as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Will.
I unfortunately will not be able to. I'm going to be in Colorado.
Ooh, fun. No problem, Bella.
hey, Kat, can I ask you why the dip in the middle of the trail?
Here, it has to do with some trees that we're not going to take down. Is that the
I
dip?
thought that was the power line was down the middle.
Well, this is a power line area, but we're not, yeah, so the dip
Okay.
around has to do with, it might be, I think there's a patch of trees that we had to kind of walk around. So that might be why it's like that. And then I had reached out to the Bay Circuit Trail volunteer group, and they, because of the late timing of the season, they can't, they're not able to help us this year. If the Scout were willing to postpone until January, they would be open to doing a skills building workshop. If you recall, we were going to have them kick off a couple-hour workshop, which would have been nice for the Scouts, but the timing didn't work out, and they have a new staff member coming on board. So that idea, if we had done it earlier in the year, might have worked out, but not so much now. So with a couple of work parties, we should be able to, short enough trail, we should be able to get this done by the end of the year if all goes well and we don't have a ton of snow that comes in unexpectedly. Right now, the trail is flagged with stake flags. So yeah, any questions or thoughts?
Well, if you find that you have to rent tools, you might also want to consider Sun Rentals. They have a better selection and pricing. You never know.
Yeah, I've
They're
not
in,
heard them. Where are they based out of?
they're, if you go out Route 20 after it crosses Route 9, if you head west,
Okay,
they're on the left a little bit.
so like in Northborough or
Yeah,
Westborough or something. All right,
I
thank
think they're Northborough,
you. Okay.
but
Awesome.
they'll rent you anything from bulldozers down to weed whackers.
Bulldozers, that might be fun. Yeah, thank you. I'll look at that. So I want to say a big thank you, and the Trails Committee is going to be writing a letter to Glenn O'Done for his work. I asked him to quantify what this, if we had contracted a surveyor to do this, would cost, and it was roughly $2,000, the amount of labor and time that he's put into marking this trail, and he did that for the Scouts. So that was a huge benefit, and we're very appreciative. It's been a pleasure working with him and his organization, and so we're really grateful that he was willing to do this, not only on short notice, but willing to give his time, off the clock. So yep. I think that's all we have there, and I've reached out to MWA to let them know where we're at. I shared the plan and said now that we have the plan, we can put it into the 8M permit. And we just give them a heads up whenever we're on the property. As I'd noted before, we've already sent out abutter letters that went out in October. We have not heard anything from our abutters, so hopefully we have friendly neighbors that are excited about our trail. So that's that. Okay. Let's see, the next on the list is Peninsula Trail. So I have some good news. I reached out to DCR to ask them about the status of the public access plan, and they do have a draft plan, and I understand that they plan to get that executed, I believe he said in January. So that is a great update. They are moving right along with that. Let me just say, we're hoping to schedule a formal public meeting in January. That would kick off a 30-day comment period before adoption. Okay, so it's going to be close enough to the grant cycle where I think we're probably going to get a letter of support from them and a trail, I think it's called a public land ownership form that they should sign and submit with the grant. I also confirmed, you may recall during one of our last meetings, that the question on the table was whether we have to submit a trail approval form, which is a very detailed form. When you create trails on DCR, they typically require this, but because we are under the watershed division, we needed to ask for clarification. We do not have to complete that form. So that's a positive. We can get a letter of support from them. So that would be some of our next steps. And we talked a little bit about the Mass Trails grant planning process. We have to kick it into high gear at this point. I talked to Tom a little bit about reaching out to trail building vendors to discuss the boardwalk and get a quote for the boardwalk and the footbridge. I think if we're going after a grant, having an organization help us build that out would be best suited, and we might get a really good product as a result of that effort. So we'll be doing that in the next few weeks. And then I think I'll put out there also, I think we have another Conservation Commission ask that we're going to have to get in front of them again to talk about going in the wetland area that's right off of Route 30. That area is where we're bypassing being on the road and the bridge that is classified as wetlands. So we need to figure out if we have permission to, MWA was open to putting the boardwalk there. And now we need to go through the Conservation Commission to see if that's going to be allowed. And I think one of our strategies will be, this area is right next to a highway. So there's not, we haven't identified, there hasn't been any like special species identified in the area. And so we should focus on what mitigating factors, how can we improve the area by doing this that won't upset the wetlands anymore, or if what we're doing, can we also take care of any invasives or something to that effect that might benefit the area. So I'll be looking to the committee to kind of help come up with what we need for that. And Tom, I might lean on you a little bit since you've been through that process, help me kind of go through that application.
Quick question, is all that disturbance in Southborough land, or I know this kind of like goes into Framingham a little
Oh
bit?
yeah, you're onto something. There is a boundary. There is a boundary there.
Though, I mean, I know it's getting complicated, but we're gonna need a company to give us a quote and design for the, across the river and stuff, that little brook. But we have to also know how close we are to Framingham.
Thank you for bringing that up. And I think there might be an error. There's a town boundary sign right at the bridge, but as has been pointed out before, it's on the wrong side. So we have to actually look at the map and see where that is. So it gives me a good reason to reach out to Parks and Rec, because if part of that area is in Framingham, then we're probably going to have to involve their Conservation Commission as well. So I actually should reach out to Framingham and just let them know about this Aqueduct Connector Trail. And you'll notice in what I'm sharing on the screen, there's a diagonal line. So the Framingham town line crosses right on Pine Hill Road. We're keeping the trail on the Southborough side, but because we're going to be eventually connecting up to Framingham, we should let them know that we're coming their way and they should be ready for us one day to connect to their end. So I can bring it up at the same time.
I agree with you. I think at least a letter to the Framingham Trails Committee saying they know about this trail, of course, but they should know that we are going for a grant to do the little river crossing there.
Yeah, and actually Framingham doesn't have a Trails Committee. And that's been part of the struggle that when we came on to the committee, when I came on and Isabel and Satyendra, there was no Trails Committee in Framingham to connect with to say, hey, what do we want to do? And so we have been working directly with the Parks and Rec.
Okay, all right. As long as I think a respectful letter saying what we're planning over here they should know about.
Yeah, we did a quick walkthrough last year with the I'm forgetting his name, but we did a quick.
Is that the one that we did together?
I don't think you were there. This was a quick one. We did a walkthrough just to ensure that that post we put off of Route 30 right near Thomas Drive,
Mhm.
that was on Framingham Line, so we had to get permission to put that post. So he knew that that trail was being built out last year. So this will be a part of the continuing of the conversation. So
Okay.
thank you so much for bringing that up. That's a really good point.
Well, you know, if you're going to go for a grant, having a note of support from Framingham Recreation certainly wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, I think we're going for a letter of support from every town committee and commission, because we have to
Okay.
demonstrate support from the community.
Yes, but I'm just saying Framingham, not just Southborough.
No, exactly.
Mhm.
Agreed with you, Tim. We'd need permission from them. Thank you. Yep, and I think we should send out probably a butter letters to the other community members that are impacted. We sent out a butter letters to those directly impacted along the trail itself, but there's a broader community that we should reach into and send a letter just to let them know, because I think that's something we should include in the grant as well. Okay, so yeah, so even though it's holiday season, we have a lot of work to do to put things in place for the grant. So I have a question to the committee, and this is jumping ahead a little bit, but you know, it is December and we've had a lot of meetings, and I appreciate everyone's patience because we're doing a lot of good things. It won't always be like this. And to Tony and to Will, we've actually never really met this frequent. It's just because we have a few things going on. So I just want to put it out there that we might have a couple more like double meetings in a month just to ensure that we can get through the grant process. So my question to the committee is, are we open or interested in meeting another time in December before the holidays or after the holidays? I'll stop there.
Kat,
I'm
what would
open
be
for
on
it.
the
but
agenda?
Go ahead, Isabel.
Kat, specifically, what would be on the agenda?
Grant. Period. Grant planning. Period. Maybe a warrant bylaw.
I'm open as long as the agenda is actually micro-focused to the
Yeah.
policy, which is what we set our next meeting. in the
Oh,
Mass
yes, I'm
Trail
sorry.
Training.
I lie again. See, each time we say one thing, it's always going to be three because I just can't stop. Right. It's policy, bylaw, and grant. But I have to say it might just like be a quick update on the Eagle Scout project because it's happening. But there won't be, I don't think, any major decisions for the Eagle Scout.
As long as we keep it micro-focused.
Okay.
Yeah,
It still might be an hour though. Are we okay with if it's an hour, but micro focused on the policy bylaw, but mostly the grant?
yeah, because the biggest thing is the policy should be, like I said, if Tim has any corrections, we could discuss it for. I
Be
don't know,
quick
5
and easy.
minutes.
Bylaw too should be quick and easy.
Bylaw should be pretty much straightforward.
Yeah.
The Eagle Scout project,
Just a quick update on where we are.
quick update, yay, nay, done, not done, what needs to be done. And then let's do the majority, because the Mass Trails grant, I don't want, because if we don't meet in December and we pick it up in January, that's weeks goes by. So
Yep.
I'm open for it as long as we keep it micro focused.
Okay, great. So I will put out there that we might need 2 meetings in January, and we'll keep that micro focused as well. It will just be all hands on deck to really just focus on getting the grant done. And then after that, we can take a little break if you like.
I'm open for that.
We can go to Mexico. We can have a Trails Committee meeting in Mexico, Cancun in February.
Is that what's in the budget?
It might be. That might be why it's so low. No. Okay, so thank you for that. And so we'll talk about when that might work out for everybody in just a few minutes. Next topic item is a trail neighbor. We have a complaint along the open channel. So it's this came up earlier this year. What is the address? I think it's on Lynbrook Road. And the problem is, let me just stop sharing and share a map so you can see. This is the only way. And we're almost done, I promise.
That's fine.
Okay.
The only thing on TV tonight is The Bachelor, and I don't watch that.
I'm glad that's
Oh, is that recorded?
priorities are in place here. Okay.
All right.
There it is. Okay. Actually, okay, let's share it in. Oh, someone's hands raised. Is that Sam's? Is that a new hand raised?
I don't see a hand raised.
You don't?
No, I do not. That's me, I guess. Sorry.
I see a Sam hand raised. Sam, can you just type a question, or if that's a real hand raise, or is that old? So Tom, if you don't mind just taking a look and seeing if he replies. Okay, can everyone see my screen now? You see Route 30 here?
Mhm.
Okay, so the open channel is here. The trail, this is Deerfoot. Okay, the trail comes off of Deerfoot and follows along the open channel. You see my mouse, it goes along here, and then it's right in front of Beals Preserve, la 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 la. And then, so there's a bridge here from that you can cross for Self to get to Self's property, Beals. And then the trail goes here. So at this bridge, I think what's been happening, or my understanding of the earlier report this year, are people are going on this side of the open channel. When the
Actually, can you do Google Earth? Just do the layers, Google Earth. I think it'd be probably a little bit better.
okay.
No, come in closer if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, you can see the
Yeah,
bridge.
there's the bridge. Yeah.
Okay, oh, there we go. Okay, great. So what people are doing, and the trail follows here. So people are taking this, they're crossing, instead of crossing the bridge, I don't know exactly where they're coming from, if they're coming from here or if they're coming from here, but they're on the wrong side and they're walking all along here and up to Lynbrook, right? Or they're coming from the established trail here because it does cross the road, and they just keep going, walking this way. But what we've tried to identify with additional signage and blazes that we put up earlier this year is the trail, if you're coming here heading east, you're supposed to cross Lynbrook and the trail goes here. Now there's signage here that says arrow this way, Burroughs Loop this way. And there's signage here that says, hey, see me, I'm right here. And then, so that's where they're supposed to walk, and that's not happening. So, and also people are parking on this side. So there is, the neighbor does not want people parking here. They can, however, park on the other side. There's a little pull off, just a couple cars worth. So when I received the complaint earlier this year, I put up a few more signs. I worked with Solf. We worked with Solf to install a post here at this bridge saying that you need to cross the bridge to get to the trail, right? So we tried to make it really clear. So apparently people are still walking along the open channel. So the complaint has been made to Sudbury Valley trustees, and Sudbury Valley trustees has been working, they reached out to me to schedule a meeting. Tomorrow morning, we're going to meet and talk about what the issue is. And so as a proactive measure, I'm letting the committee know about it, but I also want to get your opinion on what the sign should say. But I've talked to Tim from Recreation and asked if we can order 2 signs. They're going to be the H stake signs, the plastic H stake signs, yard signs to go here and here, to say, you know, not the trail, don't walk here. And that's what I want to put in front of the committee is, what does that sign say? So that's the issue. I'll just wait to see if anyone has any questions, and then we can talk about what the sign should say.
Can I ask a couple of questions? If you move your cursor to the bridge, that parcel of land right there, that field to the left,
This one?
I mean, you do have a walking trail. I could see a mowed trail that goes up to Route 30.
Okay, so this land is owned by, well, actually, I think part of it's been donated to Solf now. You can, so we have, remember, if you do at this intersection here, we have a kiosk. So that serves Chestnut Farm, it serves Beals, and it serves the Sudbury Reservoir or Burroughs Loop Trail. So people can park here. And you can walk across this field, that's fine. And there's going to be a pollinator garden just about right here that Open Space is working with Solf to put down. So
Now, second question, and I don't know if any of us, is that actually their property that goes all the way to the water?
Okay, so there is a buffer, most
No, I'm
likely.
going behind the pool area, so not the salt land. Yeah, keep on going. That's a blueberry hedge right there. I know where that is. So right where your
So I-
cursor is, going to the left all the way to Limbrook.
So I
Is
just
there-
looked on, yeah, Tom, I think that's a good question. I just looked on Zillow. I find Zillow to be very accurate with their maps. Their property on Zillow does not extend to the water.
So typically there is a buffer that whoever owns the land would have up to that buffer. Do you know how far the buffer is? What the feet, what it measures out to be? Is it like 20 feet or?
I'm gonna guess it's 50 feet, but it's just a guess.
Yeah. See, I'm not sure what the number is, and we're aware of that.
And I
So,
think, I also think that lot, as you were asking Tom, like to the right of that house with the pool,
Mhm.
you know, that looks like, I don't know whose lot that is, but that is certainly not land owned by that house with the pool.
it's
Correct.
not, this is owned, I believe it was owned by the Beals family, and they may have donated some of this, if not all of it, to Solve. And they use it for parking and such when they do art in the trails and things like that. So some version of what I just said is true. I'm not sure how
So
much.
I don't want to be a jerk about this and stuff, and I mean, and I also don't want, I'm big on the right of ways, the roads around. And if they think they own all the way to the water, and they really don't, do they have a complaint? If I was living there, I probably wouldn't like it either, but do we enforce something that is public land?
Right. These are all good questions. And I think you hit the nail when you said, if I lived there, would I want people walking along, even if they could? So because there's a very nice trail on the other side, and that is the trail, and it's an established trail, my thoughts on keeping friendly neighbors friendly is that we try to steer, we listen to the complaint, we understand that it's, someone's concerned about it. That makes sense. We also understand the other side where there is a buffer zone, but we don't want to really encourage people to walk along that because that's not where the established trail is. So my thoughts were, let's try to put up some more signage to encourage people to walk on the correct side and make some notices like we share on Facebook. Please note this section of trail. This is not the trail, the established trail. We just don't get into the boundaries. We don't have to talk about details. We just focus on what we'd like to have happen. And I'm open to thoughts on this. I'm just putting it out there. And then we just try to drive traffic to the other side where it should be. The foot traffic should.
So I will, just my opinion, and I think I agree with what Tom, I think you were saying. It's not clear to me this is the Trails Committee's problem. Maybe that's not what you were saying, Tom, but that's not Trails property there. We're not responsible for enforcing buffer zones. I don't know who is, but I'd be a little concerned about the Trails Committee all of a sudden assuming that this is a problem that the Trails Committee has to solve.
Let me put it to you. Let me put a question to you. So because there is a trail, multiple trails, we promote trails in this area, and there could be confusion when you're coming off of here. You just want to, your tendency.
Yeah, but there are signs. I mean, I've walked this area, right? There are signs. You can put up more signs, but at some point, it's not the Trails Committee. It's not the Trails Committee's problem to solve this particular parts of property that, in my opinion, we're not responsible for.
I hear you.
So just my opinion.
No, I
is
agree
that-
with Tony. If we have signs that points it and they don't obey the law, the signs, I mean, I won't even get into parking on that side of Limbrook. It's a public road. I could park wherever I want.
True.
Yep.
So all
Yep,
we've done there.
the parking is also not our issue to solve, in my opinion.
Correct.
Right. So what we've done for parking is we've just taken this P, we've taken it off the Burroughs Loop. We've just not encouraged it on the map. Right. So that we're again, like it might not be our problem, but part of this is our problem because here where the trail goes straight, this signage points, there's an arrow that says go to, down the road to here. And you can see that. But if you cross the road and it's easy to miss a blaze, there's nothing there that says go this way. Like if you've passed that blaze and you've missed it, you don't know, and your tendency is to go straight. So this, I would say, is one more effort. Like this might be our
I'm
last
all,
effort.
I'm all for, sure, put up another sign if you want.
Yeah, where
Put up-
where
put
your
up-
arrow is, on the other side of the road, you could put an arrow that says go to the left. And I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
that's
put
all-
up another sign if you want, but
Yeah.
frankly, it's not our problem to enforce, non-trespassing on property we're not responsible for.
And the
I
same
agree.
thing on the others, I mean, that's an easy fix, put in like a post and a sign that says left. If they missed it going before the road, across the road, there's a sign that says go to the left, I'm fine with that.
That's all we're gonna do, is just reinforce our signage, because that is what
Yes.
we can control.
And then I don't know what we want to do down by that salt land, that open lot. You can see where it's reddish tint, those are the blueberry bushes. I don't know if you guys go down there. It
So-
comes down, the previous owner actually maintained those blueberry bushes very nicely.
Yeah, so the idea is to put a similar sign, just a yard sign. that says-
Well, where do we put a sign? That's not our property. That's Solve.
I would work with Solve. They're open. They put a post in, so they're comfortable trying to make this work as well. So we're just trying to do an extra step. And I agree with you, Tony, and agree with you, Tom, that after this, we really can't do much more. We
Yeah, I
can, say,
wouldn't get-
these
I
are all the
wouldn't-
steps that we've taken.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not that much to discuss here, right? We can put up 2 more signs, but then I really don't see why it's the Trails Committee's problem.
Yep, and that's all the ask is. And what do we want our sign to say? Is it, trail this way or do not enter? I'm looking for a more positive approach. on
Yeah,
this
say,
one.
I mean, it's private property, trail this way. I don't know.
No,
something.
I think, I think what you want to do is point to where the trail goes, because that's your job, and suggest to the property owner that if they're having issues, they may want to put a private property sign up. But it's definitely not your job to.
But Tim, that's not their property. It's a
Right.
buffer. Right along that waterway is not their property. That's a slippery slope of claiming public land to be private property.
But
I'm very big on the road, the right of way access along waterways, the oceans, beaches, lakes, rivers.
But there's a
Um,
perfect right of way on the other side, where there's nothing on the other
Yeah.
side that's preventing them from being on the other side. Now, if the other side were, grown up and not really able to walk along it, there might be a reason people are doing it. But why are people on the other side? Why
Well,
don't we want to encourage the correct side?
We should do the signage. I have no problem with making sure the signage is very clear, but after that, I think we should have to have them bring it up to the authorities, Board of Selectmen.
Yep.
The police. I mean, this is not our jurisdiction.
Yep, I agree. And I think just doing the best we can do is just make sure we've done our part for signage. And this is just that one next step. Like after this, nothing more we can do.
Yeah, and
Kat,
Really.
is there any expectation that if the signs that we put up don't solve the problem, that we'll be on the hook? Or is it clear to?
I can make it clear in our conversation, which is happening tomorrow, and I will. Thank you for that
Okay,
question.
I mean, I
This is
think
what we
that's the
can do.
key. The key point here is not so much any objection to the signs, but if the signs don't work or if there's a continuing problem, it should be clear that that will not be our problem.
No,
we-
fair enough.
Then we do have a comment from Grant. He actually has personal experience. He said, I actually made the mistake once of walking on the wrong side of the open channel. I was walking from Route 30 and the crosswalk on Lynbrook leads you to think that the rail continues. So
Exactly.
I think there's definitely a sign needed there.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I that's perfect, because our tendency is just to remain straight. And when you're out there, I put some brush up there back in May to discourage the use, and some stake flags that says not this way. But I think it's over time, those disappear and it's hard. So thank you, Grant, for that feedback. We haven't heard much from Isabel. Do you have any thoughts, Isabel, or anything to add?
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. My feeling is it's really not our responsibility. If we put 2 more signs up that show the direction of the trail from a positive way, it's everybody else's responsibility to keep people off their private property.
Great. Okey doke.
I hate to say it, it's not private property, it's public property.
Yeah, great point, Tom. Because I think there's got to be at least 30 feet of a buffer. And I'm a little concerned that we're getting into something that really, to that point, isn't our responsibility.
I think as long as we're focused on signs, it is our responsibility, and that's what we're attempting to do. So I think I appreciate everyone's feedback, and I like that, you know, we want to kind of keep it really simple and straightforward on the signage, and then after that, our hands are washed, and we can feel comfortable that we've done everything we can to ensure that the signage is done
All
properly.
right, so we identified on Lynbrook. What's the thoughts on the other side? Right there where you have your arrow, okay?
Yep. Correct.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
And I'll talk to Solve because that is their property, ensure that they're comfortable with just a sign that says whatever we're putting on it.
I mean, I
Okay.
think whatever sign you put up wants to say, this is where the trail goes. And regardless of the ownership question, whoever is responsible for and doesn't want people, you know, going a different direction, that's their sign. That's not your sign,
Right.
right? I'm agreeing with Tony and Tom. I mean, you don't want to, I don't think you even want to volunteer to put language on your sign that talks about where the trail isn't. Your sign is where the trail is and where you know, people should be going. And
Agreed.
someone who wants to stop them from going someplace else, that's their sign.
Great. So I'll focus the message on this trail this way.
Yep.
Agreed.
Awesome. Okay, that was helpful. Anything else? Any questions or comments?
No,
Oh.
thank you.
Report back next time. Member roles and opportunities. I don't know if you've had a chance, Tom, this can be a quick one. We just had talked about signing some or looking at the maps and seeing if dividing up roles and responsibilities as far as like claiming a section of trail, and then each month we come back and report on that. That's just one of the many responsibilities.
Yes.
But
Quick 2 cents on that. I started doing that to make it very obvious. Now that there's 5 of us and 2 associate members, the goal of this is just, and we can rotate this on a 6 months or every year. It doesn't really matter which trail, but that we have, you know, reporting rights on the different trails. And then we have different sections, preferably around where you live and the favorite trails that you go to. So I will send that out. Does this violate open meeting law, Kat? If I send it to individuals saying, this is the map, these are the different sections I identified as, you know, appropriate. Which one do you want? And I just send it out to individual. They give me back their feedback.
yeah, as long as they give just you the feedback and not copy
Okay.
the entire group.
All right. So I'll be working on that probably in the next couple of weeks. Look for an email. And like I said, give me your preference of the trail that you do walk often. That'll be the easiest thing. Or a trail that you want to be more familiar with. And then, like I said, report. You're not responsible for doing all the maintenance of it. Little things, yes. If there's a big thing, let's, like I said earlier, let's organize a working committee, volunteers or whatever to take, you know, to tackle that whole trail section that needs work.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so I think that's it. Anything else? Well, that's on the agenda that we haven't talked about that you want to talk about?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, so next meeting for December. Was that before or after? Oh, I missed Sati's. He was sitting at the airport. He could have joined us. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah, so does anyone have a preference? Actually, we might need a couple weeks just to be able to gather data to make it a really important, valuable meeting. Is there any objection to shooting for the last week in December? Like, is anyone away, having fun, doing fun things?
I am away. I return the 29th.
Would the 21st work? Tuesday night or Wednesday night, the 22nd or the 21st?
I can do the 21st. I leave the crack of dawn on the 22nd.
we could shoot for the 21st. How does that sound to others?
So I think the 21st or the 21st-ish was the closing of the warrant.
Oh, you know, and we have to move away from Tuesdays because of that. We don't know what Tuesday it's going to be. And then we're going to be in that situation. We have to reach out to you, reschedule a meeting at 5 o'clock, and let's not do that again. So,
I mean, are we gonna have anything to report on if we do it the week earlier?
no, we need a little more time. How about Monday, the 20th?
I'm good with it.
Isabel, Tony,
Yeah, I can do Monday, the 20th.
6:30.
Okay.
Do you want to do 6 so it's a little earlier? Does that work for folks?
I'm here.
Okay.
I can do Monday the 20th as well, but I prefer it to be 6:30 just because I get out of work kind of late.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Just let me know about that stuff. That's good. 6:30 it is. Okay, so Will and Tony, you're good?
They don't want to talk in record.
Okay.
Yes, that's good.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to assume it works for Tony. He might have had to drop. Okay, good. So let's do 6:30 on the 20th, 12:20. Thank you all. And I have a motion to adjourn?
Before you adjourn, Kat, just one thing. I would like to bum a ride with somebody to the work session on Sunday,
Okay.
if you know of anybody.
Hey,
I'm
Kat,
happy.
do you want to send out, I hate to say this, but I'm a lover of group messages on your iPhone. Everybody have at least, not an iPhone, but a smartphone.
Yeah.
I personally love group messages, especially something like this, organizing on a Sunday morning. If everybody, and then then whoever's available can just pick you up well and stuff like that.
Okay.
So if you want, I mean, I can send out, I think I have everybody except for yours, Will, and Tony's cell phones.
Yeah.
I'll send out a test message. Just reply that you got it, and then we can all use that again. If
Yeah.
everybody has an iPhone, we can actually tag it as Southborough Trails.
I don't have an iPhone. I have an
Oh,
Android.
you don't have a cell phone?
I
You
have the
don't an-
superior Android.
Does it think for itself or?
Does it
Just-
vacuum? Does it cut your grass? I don't think so.
So I don't have Tony and Will's phone number, if you guys don't mind sharing.
Yeah, my phone number is 617.
This is a recorded meeting if you don't feel comfortable.
No,
It's
no.
Oh,
Why don't you just
okay.
text it to,
just email me and I'll get it. to
yes.
Tony.
Yes, I just submitted the activity form, but I will email you as well.
Yeah, I don't get those until they send them to me if they do. So
Okay,
yeah, if you don't,
I'll email you.
thank you. And then I'll reach out to Tony. I might have it from a previous communication.
Kathy, you're the only one that doesn't have an iPhone then?
Am I the only superior person in the room?
Okay, let's continue, please.
Just joking.
I have Android.
Oh, good. See, Tim and I rock.
Yeah,
You
I
guys
never
don't.
doubted that you had an Android.
No,
I see your background. I know you have an Android.
I can probably pick you up, Will. I can coordinate offline.
Thank you.
Okay, so motion to adjourn.
So be it.
Yes.
Right, so that was Tom. And does Isabel want to second that motion?
Yes, I do.
Great. And when I call your name, Tom McCoolier,
Yes.
Isabel Murphy,
Yes.
and Isabella Bogdansky,
Yes, sirree.
and Kat McKee. Yes, great. So we adjourn at 7:46. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening, and I will chat with you later.
Bye. Have a good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.